Okay, tonight is 28th of July 2010. Now we come to Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 24, Rathavinita Sutta, the relay chariots. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then a number of monks from the Blessed One's native land, who had spent the rains there, went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, sat down at one side. The Blessed One asked them, "Monks, who in my native land is esteemed by the monks there, by his companions in the holy life in this way? Having few wishes himself, he talks to the monks on fewness of wishes. Content himself, he talks to the monks on contentment. Secluded himself, he talks to the monks on seclusion. Aloof from society himself, he talks to the monks on aloofness from society. Energetic himself, he talks to the monks on arousing energy. Attained to virtue himself, he talks to the monks on the attainment of virtue. Attained to concentration himself, he talks to the monks on the attainment of concentration. Attained to wisdom himself, he talks to the monks on the attainment of wisdom. Attained to deliverance or liberation himself, he talks to the monks on the attainment of deliverance. Attained to the knowledge and vision of deliverance himself, he talks to the monks on the attainment of the knowledge and vision of deliverance. He is one who advises, informs, instructs, urges, rouses and encourages his companions in the holy life." Stop here for a moment. So here you can see what the Buddha means by a monk who is esteemed or respected by other monks. A monk who is respected, who practices the holy path. He has few wishes, is content, secluded. Secluded means he tends to live alone, and aloof from society. Even if he does live in a monastery, he is aloof from others. Energetic himself, then he is virtuous, and then he has concentration, wisdom, and deliverance or liberation. And also he advises and instructs and encourages his companions in the holy life. Such a monk would be respected by other monks. Venerable Sir, the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta is so esteemed in the Blessed One's native land by the monks there, by his companions in the holy life. Now on that occasion, the Venerable Sariputta was seated near the Blessed One. Then it occurred to the Venerable Sariputta, "It is a gain for the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta. It is a great gain for him that his wise companions in the holy life praise him point by point in the teacher's presence. Perhaps sometime or other we might meet the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta and have some conversation with him." Stop here for a moment. So here, this Venerable Sariputta, at that time he had not met this Puna. So he thought it would be good if I can meet him. His name is Puna Mantani Putta. Putta means son. That means his mother's name was Mantani. So his name is Puna, son of Mantani, Mantani Putta. Then when the Blessed One has stayed at Rajagaha as long as he chose, he set out to wander by stages to Savatthi. Wandering by stages, he eventually arrived at Savatthi, and there he lived in the Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. The Venerable Puna Mantani Putta heard, the Blessed One has arrived at Savatthi and is living at Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta set his resting place in order, and taking his outer robe and bowl, set out to wander by stages to Savatthi. Wandering by stages, he eventually arrived at Savatthi and went to Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park, to see the Blessed One. After paying homage to the Blessed One, he sat down at one side, and the Blessed One instructed, urged, roused and encouraged him with talk on the Dhamma. Then the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta, instructed, urged, roused and encouraged by the Blessed One's talk, on the Dhamma, delighting and rejoicing in the Blessed One's words, rose from his seat, and after paying homage to the Blessed One, keeping him on his right, he went to the blind man's grove for the day's abiding. Then a certain monk went to the Venerable Sariputta and said to him, Friend Sariputta, the monk Puna Mantaniputta, of whom you have always spoken highly, has just been instructed, urged, roused and encouraged by the Blessed One with talk on the Dhamma. After delighting and rejoicing in the Blessed One's words, he rose from his seat, and after paying homage to the Blessed One, keeping him on his right, he has gone to the blind man's grove for the day's abiding. Then the Venerable Sariputta quickly picked up the mat and followed close behind the Venerable Puna Mantaniputta, keeping his head inside. Then the Venerable Puna Mantaniputta entered the blind man's grove and sat down for the day's abiding at the root of a tree. The Venerable Sariputta also entered the blind man's grove and sat down for the day's abiding at the root of a tree. Then when it was evening, the Venerable Sariputta rose from meditation and went to the Venerable Puna Mantaniputta and exchanged greetings with him. Let's stop here for a moment. During the Buddha's time, the monks in the morning, they would go for their alms round to get their meal. And after the meal, they would, after they have taken their meal, then they would find a secluded place to go and meditate the whole day. So in this case, this Puna Mantaniputta, he went to this place called the Blind Man's Grove. And the monks would come together in the evening when the sun sets to discuss Dhamma. So here you see Venerable Sariputta, he wanted to speak to this Puna, but since he knew that this Puna was going to meditate, I didn't want to interrupt him. So he waited until evening after meditating the whole day. Then he went to see this Puna. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and said to the Venerable Puna Mantaniputta, Is the holy life lived under our Blessed One, friend? Yes, friend. In other words, you belong to the Bhagava Sangha. And he said, yes. But friend, is it for the sake of purification of virtue that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. Then is it for the sake of purification of mind that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. Then is it for the sake of purification of view that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. Then is it for the purification by overcoming doubt that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. Then is it for the sake of purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and what is not the path that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. Then is it for the sake of purification by knowledge and vision of the way that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. Then is it for the sake of purification by knowledge and vision that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? No, friend. So the Venerable Sariputta asked him all these questions, and to each of them he said, no, friend. And Venerable Sariputta said, friend, this friend is a translation of avuso. Friend, when asked, but friend, is it for the sake of purification of virtue that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One? You replied, no, friend. When asked, then is it for the sake of purification of mind and purification of view, purification by overcoming doubt, etc.? And to all this you replied, no, friend. For the sake of what then, friend, is the holy life lived under the Blessed One? And Puna said, friend, it is for the sake of final Nibbana, without clinging, that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One. So the ultimate aim of the holy life is Nibbana. So all these purifications is not for the purpose of each of these purifications that the holy life is lived, but the ultimate aim of the holy life is Nibbana. And then again, Venerable Sariputta asked, but friend, is purification of virtue final Nibbana without clinging? No, friend, Puna replied. Then is purification of mind final Nibbana without clinging? No, friend. Then is purification of view final Nibbana without clinging? No, friend. Then is purification by overcoming doubt final Nibbana without clinging? No, friend. Then is purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and what is not the path. Final nibbana without clinging. No, friend. Then is purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Final nibbana without clinging. No, friend. Then is purification by knowledge and vision. Final nibbana without clinging. No, friend. But friend, is final nibbana without clinging to be attained without these states? No, friend. And Venerable Sariputta again asked. When asked, but friend, is purification of virtue final nibbana without clinging? You replied, no, friend. When asked, then is purification of mind, purification of you, etc., final nibbana without clinging? And to each of this you said, no, friend. But how, friend, should the meaning of these statements be regarded? And Puna said, friend, if the Blessed One had described purification of virtue as final nibbana without clinging, he would have described what is still accompanied by clinging as final nibbana without clinging. If the Blessed One had described purification of mind, or purification of view, purification by overcoming doubt, etc., as final nibbana without clinging, he would have described what is still accompanied by clinging as final nibbana without clinging. And if final nibbana without clinging were to be attained without these states, then an ordinary person would have attained final nibbana, for an ordinary person is without these states. I'll stop here for a moment. So you see earlier, Puna said that all these 7 purifications is not the purpose of the holy life. The aim of the holy life is to attain final nibbana. And then also he says that all these purifications is not final nibbana without clinging. They still there is still clinging in these purifications. And Venerable Puna said, as to that, friend, I shall give you a simile, for some wise men understand the meaning of a statement by means of a simile. Suppose that King Pasenadi of Kosala, while living at Savatthi, had some urgent business to settle at Saketa, and that between Savatthi and Saketa, 7 relay chariots were kept ready for him. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala, leaving Savatthi through the inner palace door, would mount the first relay chariot, and by means of the first relay chariot, he would arrive at the second relay chariot. Then he would dismount from the first chariot and mount the second chariot, and by means of the second chariot, he would arrive at the third chariot. By means of the third chariot, he would arrive at the fourth chariot. By means of the fourth chariot, he would arrive at the fifth chariot. By means of the fifth chariot, he would arrive at the sixth chariot. By means of the sixth chariot, he would arrive at the seventh chariot. By means of the seventh chariot, he would arrive at the inner palace door in Saketa. Then when he had come to the inner palace door, his friends and acquaintances, his kinsmen and relatives would ask him, Sire, did you come from Savatthi to the inner palace door in Saketa by means of this relay chariot? How then should King Pasenadi of Kosala answer in order to answer correctly? And Venerable Sariputta said, in order to answer correctly, friend, he should answer thus. Here while living at Savatthi, I had some urgent business to settle at Saketa, and between Savatthi and Saketa, 7 relay chariots were kept ready for me. Then leaving Savatthi through the inner palace door, I mounted the first relay chariot, and by means of the first relay chariot, I arrived at the second relay chariot. Then I dismounted from the first chariot and mounted the second chariot, and by means of the second chariot, I arrived at the third. Similarly, at the fourth, fifth, sixth, and the seventh chariot, and by means of the seventh chariot, I arrived at the inner palace door in Saketa. In order to answer correctly, he should answer thus. Stop here for a moment. So here, Venerable Sariputta is answering what this Venerable Puna asked him, and Puna is saying that these 7 purifications are just like these relay chariots. One will bring you to the next, and the next will bring you to the next, etc. And then Venerable Puna says, So too, friend, purification of virtue is for the sake of reaching purification of mind. Purification of mind is for the sake of reaching purification of view. Purification of view is for the sake of reaching purification by overcoming doubt. Purification by overcoming doubt is for the sake of reaching purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and what is not the path. Purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and what is not the path is for the sake of reaching purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Purification by knowledge and vision of the way is for the sake of reaching purification by knowledge and vision. Purification by knowledge and vision is for the sake of reaching final Nibbana without clinging. It is for the sake of final Nibbana without clinging that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One. Let's stop here for a moment. So here you see these 7 purifications are just stages along the way to Nibbana. They are still states, are still not ultimate states. That's why earlier Venerable Puna said that these states still have clinging. When this was said, the Venerable Sariputta asked the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta, what is the Venerable One's name, and how do his companions in the holy life know the Venerable One? My name is Puna, friend, and my companions in the holy life know me as Mantani Putta. And Venerable Sariputta says, it is wonderful, friend, it is marvelous. Each profound question has been answered point by the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta as a learned disciple who understands the teacher's dispensation correctly. It is a gain for his companions in the holy life. It's a great gain for them that they have the opportunity to see and honor the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta. Even if it were by carrying the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta about on a cushion on their heads, so that his companions in the holy life would get the opportunity to see and honor him, it would be a gain for them, a great gain for them. And it is a gain for us, a great gain for us that we have the opportunity to see and honor the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta. When this was said, the Venerable Puna Mantani Putta asked the Venerable Sariputta, what is the Venerable One's name, and how do his companions in the holy life know the Venerable One? My name is Upatissa, friend, and my companions in the holy life know me as Sariputta. So Sariputta, his real name is Upatissa. He is also known as Sariputta, that means the son of Sari. His mother's name is Sari. And Venerable Puna said, indeed, friend, we did not know that we were talking with the Venerable Sariputta, the disciple who is like the teacher himself. Let's stop here for a moment. You see here, all the monks during the Buddha's time, they know that Sariputta is the Buddha's right-hand disciple. And the Buddha always praised him as the one with the greatest wisdom. And the Buddha also says that he turns the Dhamma wheel exactly like the Buddha. So all the monks during the Buddha's time had the greatest respect for Sariputta. But later books, they like to talk bad about Sariputta, make fun of him in the Mahayana books. If we had known that this was the Venerable Sariputta, we should not have said so much. It is wonderful, friend, it is marvelous. Each profound question has been posed point by the Venerable Sariputta as a learned disciple who understands the teacher's dispensation correctly. It is a gain for his companions in the holy life. It's a great gain for them that they have the opportunity to see and honor the Venerable Sariputta, even if it were by carrying the Venerable Sariputta about on a cushion on their heads, that his companions in the holy life would get the opportunity to see and honor him. It would be a gain for them, a great gain for them. And it is a gain for us, a great gain for us that we have the opportunity to see and honor the Venerable Sariputta. Thus it was that these two great beings rejoiced in each other's good words. So here you see, two Arahants, they have so much respect for each other. Now I come back to these 7 purifications. These 7 purifications have been dealt with in great detail in later books like the Visuddhimagga. In the Visuddhimagga, they have expanded on these 7 purifications and come up with some new things that the Buddha did not say. Later, monks like this Mahasi Sayadaw, they use those the explanation found in the Visuddhimagga on these 7 purifications and created that Mahasi method of meditation, a pure vipassana. So that's why the explanation in the Visuddhimagga is detailed, but unfortunately they talk about things that are not what the Buddha says. So from the Sutta's point of view, I will try to explain each one of these. These are not dealt with explicitly in the Suttas, but here and there you can find. The first one, purification of virtue, is for the sake of reaching purification of mind. Virtue here refers to sila, moral conduct. And the Buddha always says that moral conduct is the foundation, because when you keep moral conduct, then you will not have remorse, because you don't harm others. And if you do not have remorse, then you'll be happy. And a happy mind is the foundation, the basis for concentration. So if you want to get concentration, you got to have virtue. That's why you have sila, samadhi, panya. So virtue here, purification of virtue. If you look into the Noble Eightfold Path, 3 factors comprise the virtue or sila component. These 3 is right speech, the 3rd factor, right action and right livelihood, the 3rd, 4th and 5th factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. So right speech consists of 4 precepts. What are the 4 precepts? Not to lie, not to carry tales and cause disharmony. For example, you hear A talking bad about B, don't go and tell B what A said to cause them to quarrel and fight. And then the 3rd precept, not to engage in coarse or vulgar speech. And the 4th precept is not to engage in gossip, idle talk. So these are the 4 precepts in right speech. Right action consists of 3 precepts: not to kill, not to steal, or actually it's not to take what is not given. And the 3rd one is not to engage in sexual misconduct or adultery. So that is right action. Then the 3rd factor under the sila component is right livelihood. Right livelihood means getting your livelihood in a way that does not harm others, and does not harm yourself or harm others. And for lay persons, the Buddha says that 5 types of business or trade a lay person should not engage in. Not to trade in weapons that kill, for example, gun. Not to trade in poisons that kill, for example, insecticide, herbicide. And not to trade in intoxicants like liquor or drugs, narcotics that harm others. And the 4th is not to trade in humans, slavery. Nowadays it's still done underground, illegally. And the 5th is not to rear animals for sale to be slaughtered. So these are the 5 types of trade or business that a lay person should not engage in. If he does, then it's wrong livelihood. And then wrong livelihood for a monk is stated in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 117, as scheming, talking, hinting, belittling, pursuing gain with gain. I mean scheming to get more offerings and all that. Scheming to become famous. Talking, maybe talking about the monk talking about his attainments. And then the 3rd, hinting of his attainments, of his supernormal attainments. And then the 4th, belittling other people, belittling other monks and all that. And then the 5th, pursuing gain with gain, making offerings to lay people to get more in return. So this is wrong livelihood for a monk. So that is purification of virtue. Basically, the 7 precepts, and these few other things that I mentioned. And also for a monk, purification of view means upholding the precepts in the Patimokkha, the 227 precepts, and also all the monastic rules found in the Vinaya Pitaka. So there is purification of view, of virtue. The second one, purification of virtue will bring you to purification of mind. This purification of mind, in the Anguttara Nikaya 4.194, utter purification of mind, or complete purification of mind, is stated to be the 4 jhanas, because 4 jhanas is the right or perfect concentration. So purification of mind basically means getting rid of the 5 hindrances, because in the Buddha's teachings, the main purpose of meditation is to get rid of the 5 hindrances, because the 5 hindrances prevent us from seeing things clearly as they are. And so this purification of mind is to get rid of the 5 hindrances. And to get rid of the 5 hindrances, the minimum is what is called threshold concentration, or assess concentration. The Pali word is upachara samadhi, a state of concentration which is very near to the first jhana. In the Digha Nikaya, the Buddha has stated that when a monk attains this state, threshold concentration, the 5 hindrances fall away. And there are many similes given for the falling away or elimination of the 5 hindrances. One of them is like a person is set free from the prison. Another one is he has paid up his debt. He's no more in debt, etc. So the very minimum for purification of mind is the threshold concentration. And after that is the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana. Up to the third jhana is purification of mind. But when you attain the 4th jhana, then it's utter purification of mind, complete purification of mind. And complete purification of mind or utter purification of mind also includes the arupas or the rupa jhanas. So there is purification of mind, basically to get rid of the 5 hindrances. And that will bring you to purification of view. Purification of view means to get right view. And later we'll see that purification of view means listening to the Dhamma and having a reflective acceptance or understanding of the Dhamma. So when a person, his mind is rid of the 5 hindrances, he can see clearly. And when he listens to the Dhamma, he can understand clearly, and he gains a reflective acceptance of the Buddha's Dhamma. That will give him right view. And once a person again gains right view, he becomes an Arya, the first stage Arya, the first path. This first path can also be called stream entry. You enter into the stream of the Aryans. So that is purification of view, to attain right view. Now in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 43, it is stated that to attain right view, there are 2 conditions. One is the voice of another, in other words, listening to the Dhamma from somebody else. And the second condition is thorough attention or proper attention or careful attention. So when you listen to the Dhamma and you're paying proper attention and your mind is clear enough, then you can understand the Dhamma. And when you gain reflective acceptance of the Dhamma, then you have attained right view, which here is called purification of view. But when a person enters the stream, he becomes a first path attainer. He has not got rid of any fetters yet. A Sotapanna, the first fruit, Arya, he has got rid of 3 lower fetters. What are the 3? One is attachment to rules and rituals, Silabata Paramasa. Another one is doubt, getting rid of doubt. Doubt means doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And what is the other one? The 3 factors. Identity view, Sakaya Ditti. Identity view is identifying yourself with the body and mind. So you think that the body and mind is you or yours. So when a person gets rid of this identity view, then he understands that the body and the mind are impermanent. So it is not I or mine. So that is the Sotapanna. He's got rid of the 3 factors. But as I mentioned just now, when you have purification of view, you attain the first path. That is still not yet Sotapanna, just the path of the fruit. But purification of view will bring you to purification by overcoming doubt. This overcoming doubt should be the doubt, just as I mentioned, one of the 3 factors eliminated by the Sotapanna, which is doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, not having thorough faith or thorough confidence or trust in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So after a person attains right view or purification of view, then he overcomes doubt. He has no more doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and that will bring him to this Sotapanna stage, the first fruit, Arya. And purification by overcoming doubt will bring the person to purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and what is not the path. So this person has become Sotapanna, then he sees very clearly what is the path, what is not the path. He understands the Dhamma already. And after this, he will bring him to purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Purification by knowledge and vision of the way. Because this person has become an Arya, he's practicing the way or the path. So he has this knowledge and vision of the way, the path, how to practice. Because he's practicing that path or the way, the Noble Eightfold Path. And that will bring him to purification by knowledge and vision. This purification by knowledge and vision, that means he attains knowledge and vision. But it is mentioned earlier that all these 7 stages is still not final Nibbana, which means this 7th purification, knowledge and vision, is the various Aryan stages, short of the Arahant, short of the 4th fruit. So this person has attained knowledge and vision, is either Sotapanna or a second path attainer or second fruit attainer or third path attainer, third fruit attainer or 4th path attainer. So that will finally bring him to final Nibbana. So these are the 7 purifications that brings one to final Nibbana. So when you look into the Visuddhimagga, you find these 7 purifications are elaborated, and a lot of things they introduce. But since it is not the Buddha's teachings, there's no need to waste our time over them. Because in the, I always like to mention the Digha Nikaya Sutta number 29, Pasadika Sutta. Inside that sutta, the Buddha has stated that his Dhamma, his teachings are utterly perfect, pure and complete. And the Buddha says, if you think you want to subtract some of his teachings, you think some of his teachings are superfluous, not necessary, then the Buddha says you don't understand the Dhamma. The Buddha's Dhamma is perfect, concise, and pith, everything in it is valuable. And the Buddha also says that if you think you want to add to his teachings, you also don't understand the Dhamma at all. So nowadays, you find a lot of monks referring to other books other than the Buddha's Dhamma. Books like the Visuddhimagga, the Abhidhamma, which was written much later, and commentaries and all that. So you can take it from Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 29. You can take it from the Buddha himself, that all those monks who refer to all these later books, they don't understand the Dhamma. It's not what I say, it's what the Buddha says. They don't understand the Dhamma.